the Father is written in their foreheads. Now, if you look at Revelation chapter 7, where it talks about 12,000 from each tribe being sealed, having the Lord's seal placed in their foreheads by angels on earth, they're not raptured. They're sealed here on earth by angels, and a seal is a marking. It's an inscription. It's almost like a stamp, like you put your seal on a book, like the scrolls, the 6 seals, where no one was found worthy to open the seal that was on the scroll, except for the Lord Himself. It's a seal. It's a mark. It's a stamping of some kind, and so that's different than having His name written on your forehead. And so even in heaven, these two groups will always be distinguished. And these two groups have 2 different roles. One group worships the Lord in the temple day and night, forever and ever. That's the first group. The second group, that's the bride group. The second group. The elect group follows the Lord wherever He goes, because they're His warriors. They're His security force. They follow Him everywhere He goes. And so that's what we get to do for eternity. For those who make the first group of 144,000 as His elect, they get to follow Him wherever He goes. They're with Him. And so you see, when you read these 2 different chapters in Revelation, specifically talking about 2 different groups. 2 different groups. One group stays in the temple, and one group follows Him everywhere He goes. And so I can't think of a greater honor than the warriors we are already, to be able to be His security force. Every time He goes somewhere, we're with Him. We're with Him. Of course, He doesn't need us, but we like being thought of as needed. We want to be needed by Him. And so it's interesting. It's fascinating. And I know people need a break. You need to hear something about what's coming, something fun, something to strengthen you and uphold you, because there's not much time left. And so some of us just barely hanging on by a thread. We're so tired. And every time the Lord talks to me, He says, I know you're tired. I know you're tired. And there's just so many of us that are. In fact, I don't know anyone that isn't ready to just fall over or pass out, because we've been working so hard, and just waiting and waiting and waiting for the show to get on the road, for this tribulation period to start. And so that's why He says, I'm coming soon. I'm coming soon. And we all laugh, because our soon and His soon are 2 different things. But there was something He pointed out to me last night, and I'm going to go read through it, because I thought it was interesting. I don't believe in a literal rapture of the church where millions are raptured, because that's so unbiblical. There's nowhere in the Bible that talks about the rapture of a church. Now, the Church of Philadelphia is, without quoting Paul's scriptures, if you twist and manipulate Paul, you can come up with a rapture, but when you hold him up against scriptures from the Lord Himself and the other apostles, it doesn't hold water. So throw out Paul, and you don't even see him mention of a pre-trib rapture. What you will see is the Church of Philadelphia being protected during the hour of tribulation. And they're just protected by the Lord. It doesn't say they're raptured off the earth. Noah wasn't raptured off the earth. Noah built an ark. Noah had an ark. And the Lord will protect them here on earth, because we know there are pockets of believers here on earth in protection, in safety, when the Lord returns at the second coming of Christ, because He talks about the Jews at the rose-red city of Petra in Jordan, which is a safe haven for the Jews, the Israelites that are in Israel, to run to. I'm not talking about the serpent cedars over there. I'm talking about those who really believe in the Most High and the Son and follow Him. They will know to go to Petra from the Old Testament prophets during the tribulation period for safety. And so that's where they'll be when the Lord comes at the second coming of Christ. They will be over in Petra. And then there's His believers all around the world will be in pockets of safety, areas of safety that He will have moved them into at that time. And I'm not talking about all church believers, folks. I'm talking about those who truly seek Him and know Him. He says, my sheep hear my voice and they know me, and I know them. How many people in churches today know the Lord's voice or even care to hear it? I hear from people all the time get frustrated because they're not sure they're hearing the Lord's voice. And you know what? That just shows that they're seeking to and they want to. And the Lord knows the intent of your heart. And it just takes some time. But at least they want to hear Him. They're on the steps of seeking Him and building a relationship with Him. It's not, just a Sunday God and then the other days of the week out of sight, out of mind. There's a big difference in believers and how they have a relationship with the Lord, if they're seeking to build one, or if they could care less, just out of sight, out of mind, 6 days a week. But something he pointed out to me, because if you read in chapter 14 of Revelation, you'll notice something. Well, the first fruits group, and this is the elect group, the 144,000, the first fruits group, notice that, the first fruits group is in heaven. There are three, while they're in heaven, and they're getting the mark of the name of the Lord written on their foreheads, there are three angels. One proclaims the hour of God's judgment has come. The second proclaims Babylon has fallen. And the third gives a warning against those who receive the mark of the beast. And so you can see in this time frame that the first fruits group of believers is in heaven, that they are in heaven before Babylon falls, and right before the mark of the beast is enforced on the world. So they're taken up, they're redeemed off the earth, because the Bible says they're redeemed. They're redeemed off of the earth before the second half of the tribulation begins, before the destruction of America and before the mark of the beast is enforced. And they're not here for that. And so, no, a lot of us are always waiting for the economy to fall, the Russians and Iranians to bomb us into oblivion. Maitreya's going to come and have this World War IV against Islam, against Christians, and World War III, whatever. And you know what? We don't even have to worry about that. I mean, we need to prepare for the things that happened before then. But before America, the last days Babylon, is even utterly destroyed, and before the hour of temptation is upon the world, and that's when you have to take his number, name, or whatever on your right hand or forehead, this first fruits group is taken. It's taken. So before the second half tribulation even begins, it's taken. I believe this group is taken somewhere around the fifth seal, somewhere around the fifth or right at the sixth seal, that this first fruits group is taken. Because I believe the first 6 seals take place during the first half of the tribulation, and then the bowl and the trumpets and the lightning, the thunder judgments happen in the second half. So that's a kind of a little encouragement there for all of the elect out there who are his warriors and followers and believers and really do love and seek him, that will be gone before our country is completely and utterly annihilated. Kind of a time frame. And so then what do we do, And this is the fun part. Because we're taken to heaven, and we get his name written in our forehead, we get all this power upon us, bestowed upon us by him, and then we're sent back to earth. And at that time, the second group of 144,000 is sealed right at the beginning of the second half of the tribulation period, right when it begins. There's going to be, it talks about 12,000 out of each tribe of Israel being sealed. This happens right at the beginning of the tribulation period, and at that time, the 2 witnesses are here. And I believe the witnesses to be Elijah and Enoch. And I've given my reasons for that. Both of these men